Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to another AIMBOT. Got it. Let me adjust my microphone because I do seem to be. That's better. That's better. Good. Hello, and welcome back to another AIMBOT. Am I morally bankrupt or them? And today we are going into the dark reaches of Reddit and seeing if we can find some moral judgment that people are seeking. But first, I usually do my rant. I hope you're all well out there. I don't actually see anybody, but that's okay. That's all right. I can rant to myself. Now, first off, because on Sunday I was doing a debate review, which was fantastic. We had John, the Godless Engineer, here, who was fantastic. John's always awesome. Absolutely love him. It went really well, actually. I had a blast. I think that when it gets into somebody sort of as good as John, with somebody as bad as Joel Sedicase, or at least pre-suppy as Joel Sedicase, it always becomes hilarious. I honestly think John was robbed in the judges' decisions, but one of them didn't seem to be paying attention. It seemed to be a bit of they said, oh, it's just a wash. I don't think it was, quite frankly. But yeah, hello there, Jess. Yeah, no, I got a new boom mic thing. And so it's got a thing on here. So half the time I forget about it. I am not alone. Oh, thank you, Beck. I worry. I worry sometimes, mate. But yeah, I didn't get to comment on the Charlie Kirk thing. So, and I've seen a lot of atheists comment on it, and a lot of sort of left-leaning people comment on it. And I wanted to, usually I save that for AIMBOT just at the start to comment and to sort of give my opinion on things. I condemn all political violence. I think it is a horrible mistake. I'm probably going to get into a massive argument with Chris Mallard over it, but people that are endorsing this as a good thing, I really think that is a mistake. But on the other side, let's not pretend that Charlie Kirk was a good guy that, deserved to be held up as this paradigm of enlightenment and success kind of thing. I'm sort of what annoys me is that Charlie Kirk just did, like, he got up in front of, I think it was when he went to the UK, he went up in front of sort of some debates. UK University, Charlie Kirk, yeah. I think it was either Cambridge or Oxford. And just got his ass kicked from one side to the other kind of thing. It was Oxford, right? The Oxford Union. Absolutely kicked his ass. Like it wasn't even close. It was absolutely just a pummeling. And that's what concerns me, right? Like, he'd just been beat down by some students. One of them was on rationality rules. I think her name was Tilly or something. Just absolutely handed him his ass. And then, this happens and he's being held up as this paradigm of free speech and things like that. He really wasn't. Like, they sort of like, well, he goes to the forefront. He kind of, wants to engage in this honest debate. No, he was really after finding college kids who didn't have stats on them at the time, who didn't. And this is what people like him do. They really look for uneven playing fields. But when you get them into something where they have to come with facts, they get their asses kicked. So let's not pretend that Charlie Kirk was a good guy. He said some really horrible things, especially about race, especially about women. He was altogether an awful person. However, when you start to, they're already holding him up as the sort of right is, and Trump is holding him up as this martyr of, free speech, and he flew flags half-mast for him, kind of thing. And to be honest with you, I don't think he deserves that. I don't think he is a voice of the people. I don't think he is what they're calling him. I think he is a voice of a very fringe group that is now being used as this, oh, well, he was the Martin Luther King of his day kind of thing, Martin Luther King Jr. of his day, and that is not the case, but they get to use him as this martyr of their cause, which is horrible, absolutely horrible. The suspect that's been arrested, it's still kind of unclear why they actually did it. I don't really think it matters, but it is incredibly worrying that they're declaring war, and I really worry about their response. I really do. Now this is Charlie Kirk in 2023. And I want to point this out because it's really important to me, as I disagree with everything that Charlie Kirk says. So I'm going to play this clip of him, and you've probably seen this before.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, yes, by having more armed guards in front of schools.
Yes. Just notably, fathers in the home and armed guards in front of schools isn't reducing gun deaths. I'm sorry, they're not. Right? It's legislation that requires licenses. It's basically screening people that shouldn't be allowed to own guns, like people with criminal backgrounds, and making them take tests for just. This is ridiculous. There is no evidence to show that more fathers in the home is going to help this problem.
We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
Yeah, so this is what makes me worry, and I don't want to be insensitive. Like, he didn't deserve for someone to kill him, right? Like, I don't think he deserved that, but he's saying it's fine to have these deaths, to have guns in the hands of every citizen, and I don't agree. I think that you can have legislation, like Canada has legislation. You can still own a gun, but you need legislation. Now, I didn't find the full clip. I wanna give context that he says, oh, we have car deaths, right? Like, we have these deaths from cars, like 50,000 a year or something like that. Like, an overwhelming number. Yes, there's a lot of car deaths, but we accept it in order to be able to drive. But here's the thing. You've got to register your car, do tests to show that you can competently drive, and drive, keep doing tests if you do need it. After you reach a certain age, you can't drive a car anymore. Like, we have reasonable restrictions in place, so those deaths aren't high. We have seat belts, we have insurance, we have all of this stuff to make it as safe as possible. And that's what they're ignoring with guns. No one's saying that you can't own a gun. It's this conflation. It's basically saying, hey, why is it harder to buy a car than it is to buy a gun? Right? Like, why is that? Like, this whole idea that you have, driving is a privilege. You don't have a right to drive. Okay? You don't have a right to drive. You have to go and do things in order to be able to. It is not a right, it's a privilege. And the whole idea is, well, we should be seeing guns in the same way. That it is a privilege to own one, not a right. And so when he sort of says that and says, oh, we can fix it by having more fathers in the home, I don't know what he's talking about. But, it is this case that he has said that he's willing to put up with those deaths. And that does not mean that it's still that he shouldn't have been shot, but the whole fact of the matter is that he accepts, or he should accept, that his death is the price of everybody in the country owning guns, according to himself. But what I feel like, and I may be wrong, but I feel like when he said that statement, he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about other people's deaths, those poor people's deaths, he probably wasn't talking about his children being the ones to get taken out by that. I think that if it was his own children, the price wouldn't be worth it for everybody in the country to be armed. Because I don't think any father or mother or parent would be okay with that as being, the end of their child as being the cost of doing business with guns in the country. I don't think they would accept that. But, he said it. He said it straight out. So, so the suspect is one Tyler. It's still a bit uncertain of why he did it. It's very, very strange. There's been some SMSs that shed light on sort of why he did it, and that he confessed via SMS to a friend. Their parents basically saw him and said, "Oh, that's our son." When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate. So apparently he just didn't like Charlie Kirk. Who knows what, I don't know any political leaning. I don't know where he comes from. I really don't know. It's very, very, very strange. It's very strange. But, no idea. Oh, hello, Tori. Good to see you. Really good to see you. But anyway, I don't know why he did it. Now, the other thing I want to go through is it's Trump. Like, seriously, I'll show you something that really annoyed me that he's done recently. And I woke up to this, and it's just like, wow, what an absolute tool. Seriously. This is Trump being questioned by a member of the ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Now, the ABC is basically an independent. It's like the BBC, right? Like, so it is an independent. It's not really owned by anyone. It's owned by the people, but the government don't run it. They just put people in charge of it, and then it's run according to guidelines set out by an independent sort of committee. So they're about as independent as you can get. Jury nullification are very high. I don't know about that. I mean, they're calling for the death penalty on the guy. I don't know. This is weird that you had two lawmakers killed in, I think it was Minnesota, and they really didn't care that much. But on this one, they are so animated that they want him to have the death penalty. It's just ridiculous, like it really is. But anyway, this is an ABC reporter questioning Trump on why, sort of just the emoluments clause, I believe it is, the one that says that you can't run businesses, because Trump's been selling stuff, right? Like, he's been selling his own cryptocurrency. He's been selling Bibles. He's been selling all kinds of stuff while he's in the White House, while he's basically just shilling stuff while in the White House. Like, it's obvious to everybody. Like, it's absolutely obvious to everybody. This is a reporter questioning him about it.
Continually regarded to be the wealthiest man who's ever occupied the White House.
I hope so.
How much wealthier are you now than when you returned to the White House?
Well, I don't know. The deals I made, for the most part, other than what my kids are doing, they're running my business. But most of the deals that I've made were made before.
Yeah, so basically, Trump's given like the running of his financial empire to his kids, and just says he doesn't interact with them any at all on the business kind of thing. I think that that is still such a conflict of interest. It should be given to somebody completely independent, and that's what presidents have done. But he kind of just says, no, I'm going to give it to my kids and I promise I won't tell them what to do or, make any decisions in the White House to influence those businesses, which is ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous that he, he won't make a decision that he knows will benefit his business, like a tax cut, for instance, on his that will affect his business, or loosening restrictions on property ownership, for instance, like things like that. He knows that's going to increase his business. So it's kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. He is so corrupt. In my opinion, he is the most corrupt person that has ever sat in the White House. It is blatant, overt corruption. And there's a clear act saying, hey, you cannot make money off of a business, and he's released cryptocurrency and released Bibles and released all of this stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous.
That's what I've done for a life. I built buildings, like I'm building a building here. You know where I'm building? You know what? You see that area?
Yeah.
That is going to be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world, and for 150. So it gives me pleasure to do it for the country, and I'm paying for it. I'm paying for it.
Yeah, and even if he does pay for it, he's made a lot more by, say, going to Mar-a-Lago and then billing people for access to him. Come and talk to me, buy this thing, and you can talk to the President of the United States. You can lobby the President of the United States if you go to Mar-a-Lago. He even tried to sell off access to himself to the person with the, I think, the most votes or something, or bought the most amount of his cryptocurrency. Like, it really was overtly corrupt. The Mar-a-Lago scam is that he will allow you to visit and buy expensive rooms, which foreign dignitaries do, and they get access to the President of the United States. He's basically just selling off access at this point, in my opinion. Even if he does pay for this, he's made a lot more. Just the very fact that he's staying at Mar-a-Lago and encouraging people to visit a place that he owns by attracting people to the president being there is corruption. It is using your position as the President of the United States to make yourself money. It is corruption. I don't know, this kind of thing is just disgusting. In Australia, this would have been absolutely, people would be so mad by now, because I remember Bronwyn Bishop, who was the Speaker of the House in, I think, New South Wales. She took a helicopter ride on taxpayer funds, and people got so mad they tossed her out of Parliament. This kind of stuff is egregious. It's overt. It's right in your face, and for so many people to just accept it is wild. It's wild. It is. Donald Trump claimed to drain the swamp. He has now become the swamp. I guess to fight something, you must become the thing. I don't know, but this is so corrupt.
The country's not, and that's an expensive ballroom.
But is it appropriate?
I think it'll cost $250 million, and it will be, I think, the finest ballroom. So for 150 years, John, do you know this? They've wanted a ballroom, and now they're going to finally have it. It's going to be a big one. It's going to knock you.
Notice how he's pivoted to the ballroom kind of thing. He hasn't actually answered or in any way talked about the question. You're making money from being the president that's not coming from the people, it's from your businesses, which is clearly against the Constitution. But he's not talking about, he's gone onto the ballroom. What's that got to do with anything? This is just a complete red herring.
But is it appropriate, President Trump, that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity?
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business.
But you are also...
You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the...
Yeah, so the activity that he's doing is stuff like this cryptocurrency and all of this kind of stuff. you know, he absolutely is running business and profiting off of his position as president of the United States. Absolutely 100%. There is no doubt about it. Absolutely is. So now he's asked where he's from. He's from the ABC. Watch his response.
The Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners program.
About the Australians, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. You're
nice country. Shame if something happened to it, right? Right. Your leader's coming over to see me very soon. Shame if something happened to your country. Like this is the kind of stuff, like basically a reporter has a hard-hitting question, okay? He has a hard-hitting question. And in Australia, this is what happens. The politicians are hit with hard questions, right? He's hit with a hard question. Oh, your leader's coming to see me. That might not go well for you if you continue down this line of inquiry. And he does this all the time, including to journalists in the US. Like, oh, you're a very nasty woman asking that. Why are you being so nasty, kind of thing. This is his usual MO. Nice business journalism you've got there. Shame if something happens to it.
Your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone.
Well,
go ahead,
President
John.
Trump, when the UAE does a deal like
you
that,
can set a nicer
when the UAE does a deal, what does it want in return?
Quiet. Mr. President,
Quiet. Stop asking inconvenient questions, Australian journalist. Stop asking inconvenient questions. So another question that I've had is why Albanese hasn't met with Trump, and that's the Prime Minister of Australia. The reason why he hasn't is because traditionally and sort of protocol dictates that when the Australian Prime Minister meets with the US President, the ambassador to the United States has to be in the room, and that is Kevin Rudd, who is a very awesome guy, very intelligent guy, and Trump doesn't like him. So I think that is basically why it hasn't happened, which is kind of ridiculous, that he can't have somebody in the room that he doesn't like. It's absolutely wild. I think we've been pressured to change it, but we're not doing things for Trump. It's just, this is getting beyond a joke, quite frankly. Like, to threaten a country because one of their journalists asks something you don't like, that's a valid question, quite frankly. Like, because I think it's the emoluments clause. Emoluments. That you can't make money as the president from your position, kind of thing. Yeah, so, the Foreign Emoluments Clause. This clause prohibits the US government from granting titles of nobility and prevents federal officials from receiving gifts, offices, or other emoluments, benefits, or profits from foreign states without consent of the Congress. But he's doing that because there are people from overseas buying his cryptocurrency, right? Like, so he absolutely is, and it's very obvious to everybody. Oh, yeah, no, I agree, Jess. I totally agree. 100% agree. I think Four Corners has done a really good job in the past. I think that they will continue to do so, even if they get threatened by Trump. But to sort of threaten a country because a journalist from it says something, I mean, how low class do you have to be? It's so low class, like, seriously. Anyway, I'll get the link for today, and open her up to I will open her up. Just one sec. I'll just put in link to join. Hey, BTF Wayne, good to see you, mate. Give me one sec. I'll just see if I can pin that. Can I pin you, please? Please pin. Okay, I'll have to get another window up. That's okay. But it's so, like, you know, the emoluments clause absolutely has been breached. So it is a valid question. Absolutely a valid question. But I don't see it. You know, it's like the journalists aren't asking the questions about it anymore. So, of course, you know, the Four Corners is not... So Four Corners and the ABC is in a interesting position. I'll just pin that. It's in an interesting position because basically they're not reliant on the government. You know, the government can't block them. The US government can't block them or do anything to them or limit their, you know, income in any way. They're funded by the Australian government. Like, they don't have to worry about advertisers. He can't get them in that way. So he threatens the entire country. Like, oh, if I meet with your leader, I'm going to tell him about you. What do you think he's going to do? What's the Prime Minister going to do? The ABC that he's from is an independent... Like, he can't do anything about what the journalists ask or do not ask at the ABC. He can't do a damn thing. And, you know, like, if they could, they would have. He doesn't understand how anything works, but he thinks that, you know, you know, our country isn't set up so that the Prime Minister starts to threaten the ABC with stuff. No, that's not how it's set up, my friend. No. But anyway, what an idiot. Like, seriously. I feel completely unmoved by this threat. In fact, I'm proud of the journalist. He asked something that should have been asked ages ago, and Trump didn't like it, so he started threatening, and then tells him to be quiet. It's like, okay, sensitive much? All right, well, what are we doing now? We're going on to Am I the Asshole on Reddit. This is going to be consensual. Solicited judgment of random people. I do not curate these. I do not pick them out. So we're coming into them first time to see what we've got here. You're home from work. I thought you got home later, Wayne. Has time zones changed? Zone for Eastern time. Has it changed again? Like, I know that you guys in Eastern time have daylight savings. No, it's still the same. When does it change? Is it even coming up? Doesn't it change in like... Oh, okay. 16th of September? No? No, it's currently 16th of September there. Okay, gotcha. Second Sunday in March. First Sunday in November. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. It switches over in November. So, yeah, I was just seeing whether it switched over or not. First up, first cab off the rank, Thought Individual 114. I'll just check, because a lot of them... Yeah, that's fine. I'll just check. A lot of them have been, like, taken down for being bot-generated or something like that. So, thank you very much for that. Something like that. It's got way darker, way faster. Yeah, that's fine. A lot of them have been taken down for whatever reason. Maybe they trip some kind of mediation thing. Maybe they are bot generated. Maybe they just don't like them. I don't know, but there's a few that have been taken down. So I will be going into them just quickly to make sure. But apart from that, I have not seen them before at all in any way. So am I the asshole for responding tersely, in fact, to a sister-in-law's rebuke over email? No, it depends. Okay, so first off, you may be, because, like, the thing about email and stuff is that you can't tell tone, and tone makes a big difference, especially for sarcasm and stuff. I often miss it, but possibly not. Tersely over a sister-in-law's rebuke? No. I mean, sometimes you got to be terse, right? Terse just means curt. It means sort of very shortly and you know, sort of smartly. Like you just respond tersely. Yeah, exactly. It means in a short sort of frustrated way, like a very curt, if you know that word. That's basically what it means. I don't think necessarily, no, but let's go. Sunday evening, me, female 46. Oh, yeah, so it's not right. A lot of old people see a woman being terse as a lot worse than a man being terse for some reason, or curt, or short with people, or you know, efficiently and shortly responding. That for some reason it's just, yeah. We are all in the future yesterday. Well, if you think about it, BTF Wayne, if you think about it, because light takes time to travel to your retinas and then it takes time for your brain to process, technically everything is in the past. Everything that you observe is in the past. You never see the present. Everything's in the past. Okay, so me, female 46, husband. Bobby proposed. We're getting married. Happy day of my life. Congrats. What? I'm not sure what that's in relation to. If a woman isn't polite, she's clearly a witch. Yep. I mean, what was somebody saying? Like, I was watching something with Lynn the other day, and basically, she was saying, like, apparently people on the street say, she was English, right? And people were saying to her, "Where's your smile, love?" And it's like, are you serious? Like, what the hell? You're expected just to plaster a fake smile on your face and wander around? It's just ridiculous, right? Husband, male 46, and daughter, female 7. Jesus, you had a child 139? That's quite late, isn't it? That's fine. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. No, that's fair. Yes. Yep. Congrats. Yep. Invited to visit my husband's sister for dinner. Okay. She put out a spread of delicious food for adults, but our child rejected most of it. Okay, well, at 7, I can understand why. Curried fish, eggplant salad, quinoa salad, etc. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that does not seem like stuff I would serve a 7-year-old. Child wolfed down multiple pieces of a very crumbly bread loaf from a bakery. Child knew that she was spilling some crumbs onto the floor beneath the dining room table, but didn't think much about it. We, parents, were in a group conversation and did not notice. Admittedly, we could and should have checked the floor afterwards and noticed and cleaned it up. Okay, well, that's fine. We thanked her and hugged goodbyes and left at 7. At 11 p.m, we get an email from her informing us that she discovered that, in her assumption, our daughter swept lots of breadcrumbs from her chair down onto the floor, and that this is extremely unacceptable behavior, and that sister-in-law had to vacuum it up. Oh, come on. That's not... Like, you had people over. A big frigging deal. Like, seriously? That's it? Like, they're not throwing wine on the walls or anything. They just spilled some breadcrumbs. Just get over it. What the hell? Sister-in-law would have told our child to vacuum if sister-in-law had seen. Oh, come on. Just relax. Sister-in-law says this is not the first time she has observed our child leaving garbage on the floor without cleaning it up. And this is completely unacceptable. In my home, at least. Wow. Okay, just relax. Moreover, sister-in-law wants to address this directly with our child in addition to telling us we need to correct this bad behavior. It was 3 paragraphs of histrionics over this, and no small amount of shaming us as parents. We spoke with 7-year-old who said she ate a lot of bread and knew it was making crumbs, but she didn't sweep them onto the floor. They just happened while eating. We spoke gently about being a considerate guest. No big deal. Yeah, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Oh, don't be sorry, Jedi. It's all good, mate. All good. But it's really good to see you. And, Jer, really good to see you as well. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I, however, was quite shocked and offended by the intensity of judgment and shaming in sister-in-law's email to us. I waited 24 hours, then simply wrote apologies. We spoke with her. Thank you. Now, husband is saying I went nuclear with my... No, that is not a nuclear response. And sister-in-law is angry about it. It is true that replies a completely different tone and terseness than my normal communication style, and the terseness was intentional. But why am I now the villain when anybody went nuclear here? It was sister-in-law who flipped out over finding a bunch of breadcrumbs on the floor under where a 7-year-old child sat at a table. Who is the arsehole here? Not you. I mean, yeah, apologies. We spoke with her. Thank you. Yeah, you know, I've got a feeling this is more to do with the relationship between the two than it does to have... I'm phrasing that really badly. I think there's more to it. Max, thank you so much for 10 Singaporean dollars. Max V says, I can't stay, but I'll leave this bit of love. Take care, Mark. Thanks, Max. Really appreciate it, mate. You take care. I get you, buddy. Max is actually in Singapore, probably closest to my time zone, quite frankly. So I totally get it, mate. I'm with you. But thank you. I do appreciate it. Maximiliano has been around for a while, actually. Always enjoy him dropping by. I'll start a poll and drop in some stuff. Yeah, I know, right? Like, children will be like that. And, okay, so terseness in an email, I don't see that as going nuclear. It is just a, yes, it's been addressed. I think, you know, I mean, what would be better, saying, hey, I think you're overreacting a lot, was the poster right for sending a terse email? So I'll give you a story that I once had, right? Like, so I was once working away, and so there was an issue came up with somebody's internet connection that I had to fix as sort of a complaint. And you know, they asked, like, I had to liaise with somebody from, I think it was the provisioning department. Anyway, it was another department doing something technical, and I had to get them to do it because I didn't have access. And they were basically asking me, like, oh, how long has this happened here? And I'm like, oh, something like 2 months or something. And then I said, well, in fact, and this is all by chat, right? So this is just sending messages. Yes, it's a tangent. Thank you. I know. And then I'm just sending message. I'm saying, well, in fact, it was 2 months and whatever days, to be precise, kind of thing. And they honestly thought that I was making fun of them. And they're like, why are you being so snippy? And I'm like, I'm not. And they're like, well, you're you know, saying this thing. And I'm like, I honestly, that is the way I talk. And I actually had to, like, somebody came over and I said, hey, you know, is this my usual communication? That is my usual communication style. Like, you know, I didn't know how else to explain it. That is the way that I actually talk in real life. So, you know, but they thought I was making a joke of it, saying, oh, it was 2 months. Well, in actual fact, it was 2 months and 3 days, to be precise, kind of thing. Because you're asking me, I have to be precise because you're... That wasn't what I actually meant what I said. Like I said 2 months, and then it realized, well, it's actually 2 months and 3 days to be precise. That's the way I talk, but they didn't believe me. I don't know why. But anyway, let's sorry about that. Let's find out what the people have to say in the Reddit stream. She wanted to summon a 7-year-old for a lecture on breadcrumbs, and your reply is nuclear. Your husband needs to get his priorities straight. And I would keep an eye on her next time she has your child, and I would absolutely not allowing this addressing she is so eager for. Yeah, I mean, it's weird, right? Like, you know, could you please have a word with your child about, you know, if not cleaning it up. Look, I get that, hey, the child could have told you about it, you know, and that's fair, you know, but I wouldn't be demanding to speak to somebody else's child about breadcrumbs. Seriously, talk about first world problems, seriously. I don't know, I wouldn't even mention it. I'd be like, hey, I'm glad they enjoyed the bread, right? The little kid enjoyed the bread so much, left crumbs everywhere. Hell, my wife leaves crumbs everywhere. I don't complain about it. Love you, honey. Beautiful lad says vacuuming after having a bunch of guests over isn't out of the norm for cleaning up after. Yeah, that's what I said. Isn't that like what you do? Like, you know, I'd understand if they, like I said, threw wine on the walls, or like, you know, took a dump on your rug, but just having a mess after having guests over isn't out of the ordinary at all. Love your bogan accent? No, how dare you, sir? How dare you? If I have a bogan accent, it'd be like this, mate. It'd be really, it'd be ochre. It'd be ochre. You should have a talk with my wife. I talk with my wife. Address her. I need to talk to you about your crumbs. Nor was there anything nuclear about your response to her email. You literally apologized and said you spoke to her. If your response is nuclear, then what exactly is your sister-in-law's email? Yeah, I think it's kind of lopsided, to be honest with you. Not the arsehole. It sounds like you also have a husband problem along with the sister-in-law problem. Who doesn't have a single child-friendly food other than an entire bread loaf couldn't be cut up for her? Who doesn't have a single child-friendly food other than entire bread loaf? Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Left-handed Jedi says, what are the spell components for summoning a 7-year-old? Milk and cookies, hot pizza. I think if I had to go for it, it would have to be a single Optimus Prime transformer and a gemstone worth at least 10 gold pieces. I had to throw in the gemstone worth 10 gold pieces. There's so many spell components in D&D that's like, oh, you need a diamond worth at least 500 gold pieces. And it's like, what if I've got one that's worth $4.99? Is that just going to fail the spell? How does it know? What happens? Okay, so what happens, right? Look, I got to address this. What happens if you've got a diamond, right, that's valued at 500 gold pieces, and then the arse falls out of the diamond market, and like suddenly there's a flux of diamonds because Rolf and his party just came back from the diamond mines after pillaging the whole place, and then your diamond is only worth like 450 after that? Does the spell work? Does the spell fail? What happens then? What happens if you have a diamond that's worth 500 on the Sword Coast over in, like, you know, Baldur's Gate it's worth 500, but off in Thay it's only worth 350? What happens then? Does the spell work in Baldur's Gate, but it doesn't work in Thay? And where exactly is the dividing line? Like, if you go around, right, every single store with your 450 gold piece diamond, and you manage to, you know, the bard uses his charisma to barter it up to 500, does then the spell work? I have questions, right? Exactly how do you do this? I want to know. But thank you so much, Left-Handed Jedi, for that tangent fueling super chat. Right. I don't know. I have questions about spell component pouches, you know. Apologies, we spoke with her, thank you, is flawless. I kind of think it is. I kind of think it is. I think it conveys everything you want to say with the added implication that you don't really want to talk about this. Yeah, no, I agree. That's fine. That's fine. Your sister-in-law wrote a home manifesto over some crumbs like she's running a Michelin star restaurant. Well, look, even a restaurant, if you left crumbs on the floor, they'd just clean it up. You know, like, if you had a child in and the child left crumbs on the floor of a restaurant, they'd just tidy it up. They wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't write you a long email. Not hosting a family, no. Your reply was perfectly fine and honestly restrained. Yes, that's exactly how I would describe it, is restrained. If anything, you gave her a little less drama than she deserved. Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I do agree. Oh, hold on. We've got some answers here. DM hat here. Thank you. Put on your DM hat. Yes, definitely. The gathering of components is more important than the components themselves. If you have at 499 gold diamond, I'd do a secret roll to see if the deity attached to the spell is pleased. No, there's not. Well, yeah, maybe. Nothing happens. Spells aren't real. Yeah, I mean in the game, aren't you? Like, in the game. If the god thinks... Okay, well, that's fine for priest spells. What about other spells? What about, you know, bard spells? What about sorcerer spells? Checkmate, theist. All right. Let's see. What have you guys got? What a white food spread. Yeah, no, I gotcha, Wayne. I gotcha. Children, Aunt Jess says children are messy eaters. It's a feature, not a bug. What was it? It was quinoa stuff and like eggplant. This is not children's food. Yeah, curried fish, eggplant salad, and quinoa. Ugh, that is not what a child would just know. No, just have some carrot sticks and stuff like that. Jeez. But yeah, children are messy eaters. Hell, some adults are messy eaters. And BTF Wayne also adds, children create crumbs. Have you ever met a child? Well, you know, I would like to know, and I know we don't get a lot of information. I would like to know if she's got her own children, right? If she's got her own children or not. Because if she has her own children, well, does she say anything about it? Unacceptable situation in my home, at least. Yeah, it sounds weird. BTF Wayne says this is one of those zero conflict ever, no matter what families. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, I mean, if you mean that the woman's just being terse, she should have sent back, hey, you know, just deal with it. Yeah, I don't know. I like the reply. It's just, you know, not giving her anything. Left-Handed Jedi says, that's like saying baby spitting up is wrong. Yeah, kind of. Kind of. I mean, it's good to teach them to clean up after themselves, but yeah, just expecting them to eat in a way that doesn't leave anything but... It's just unrealistic. Yeah, Hooligan, so good to see you, my friend. I have a friend, not me, who always bought his child 2 cakes, one for them to smash and another for everyone else to eat. Well, that seems a little... that seems a little wasteful, to be honest with you, but that's okay. I mean, if they're happy to do it. BTF Wayne says, I would most definitely be a 2 cake dad. Germs. Me too. It's a great camera moment. Okay. And Art just says, I'll eat the cake. They didn't blow their spit all over blowing out the candle. No, you can't be. That one is smashed. We've already said that. Jessica, the trans metal alchemist, says the power imbalance here. Adults have more power, so they have more responsibility to act sensibly. So their overreacting is less forgivable. Yeah, you would think so. You would absolutely think so. Whereas children have no power, so their responsibilities are less, and if they emotionally overreact, it's far more understandable. Yeah, absolutely. Adults need to be able to pick their battles, save your anger, outrage, and spite for people who have hurt you, but try to keep things amicable during more ambiguous situations. Yeah, and that's something that I've had to sort of learn, to pick your battles. Like, sometimes it's best just to go, look, you can believe whatever you want, and I go my own way. That's usually the best thing to do. You know, you should have a talk with my wife. Well, yeah, I do. Address her. The eggshells must be extra thin with the sister-in-law. Yeah, I don't think this is about the child making crumbs. I think there must be something else to it. Jedi wants to summon a more model child, not a 1980s child. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God of Music, God of Magic. I'm not sure what that's in relation to, probably a thing. That sounds like an email my mum would have written. Friends were not allowed in my house. Wow, okay, yeah. That sucks. That sucks. Kids and Matthew deal with it, says Majestic Beck. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You also did the 2 cake thing. Okay. I mean, I'm a big fan of cupcakes, and you don't just have one cupcake. That's just illegal, I believe. I believe it's illegal in every state to have just one cupcake. That doesn't work for me nor anybody else, quite frankly. So yeah, no, I'm in favor of it. I'm in favor of it. Poster is fine. Is the poll says, yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. Poster is fine. Like, this isn't about the child spilling crumbs. This is about something else. You just can tell. Like, this is about maybe she comes over too often. Maybe she's borrowed things and not returned them. I don't know. But I doubt this is just, hey, she came over a couple of times and left a bit of a mess with their children. Like, that's the cost of having children over, in my opinion, anyway. Well, and I've got to think, because my birthday is coming up next month as well, so I've got to prepare for that. And I am so old. I have to be reminded about my birthday by my wife. That's how old I am. It's pretty bad. It is pretty bad. But you know, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. That is an ad, and I'll just make sure this is okay. Nope, it was deleted. Okay, so stuff like this is... I am cautious now for stuff like this. That's fine. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I agree. Inexpensive grocery store, Kate. Okay. Look, I just hate wasting food. I hate wasting food. I try never to waste any food that I have. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I just don't like throwing stuff out. I don't like stuff like that. You know, but yeah, look, it's for a celebration. It's a bit different. I get that you're not doing it all the time. It's just I try not to. Maplehawk77. Am I the asshole for refusing to be my roommate's human alarm clock and walking out after they demanded daily wake-ups? No. Do you have any obligation to wake somebody up? Look, I mean, it's nice to do, but I don't know why. I don't know why you would you know, would you be responsible? No, not really. It might sort of be helpful, but I don't know about this one. I think that you shouldn't be demanding anybody, like, be your alarm clock or wake you up in the morning. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a nice thing to do, but I don't think you're morally obliged to do it. I don't think you're an asshole if you go, hey, I don't, you're responsible for yourself. I think that's just being an adult, quite frankly. I don't know. Let's have a look at it. But my initial thoughts are no. Okay, I just moved in with a roommate who sleeps through alarms. I mean, there's alarms and then there's alarms, right? Like, there's your standard alarm and then there's real alarms. If you're putting on music and sleeping through it, change it to something else. This is the thing, you can get used to alarms and sleep through them. Just change your alarm to something else. Right, change it to a different tone, change it to a different alarm, and you probably won't sleep through it because you're not used to it. It's something that you're not used to. You can adjust to alarms, yes, but then you just change your alarm. I don't understand. I woke them twice every morning. Like, I'm sorry, I would try to wake you once. If you don't wake up, that's on you. Like, seriously, if I like, shake you awake once and you just go back to sleep, I'm done. That's it. No. Twice every morning. No. I asked them to set 3 alarms and a smart speaker so they can wake up on time and not being late. Okay, that's not the right tense there. They said I should just tap their shoulder because I'm up anyway. I hate to say that, but this laziness is crazy. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't think it's laziness. I just think it's, they're just incredibly unmotivated to get up. Making others do something that you should be responsible to, or for, ideally, is crazy for me. One time they overslept the shift and blew in at 8:45. Are you working at the same place? Is that what's happening? Overslept a shift. What time is this in the morning? She asked why I did not wake her up. I had actually tapped their shoulder several times. Your English is terrible. Their shoulder several times, but they told me they want to sleep longer. Yeah, see, this is they're waking up. They're just not getting up. So I said, expecting daily wakes up is not part of my lease. Even kids are responsible to wake up at alarms to go to school. Yeah. I don't get why a big adult cannot do it and need someone to wake them up every morning like I'm their mum. Just don't understand why there are people like this. Why is basic responsibility so hard for them? Why is basic responsibility so hard for them? Well, it's not really. I mean, they probably haven't gotten in. Look, most of this stuff is just habit, right? Like, it is just doing habits, doing things over and over and over, especially waking up and going places, right? Like, it is difficult when you've never done it, sure, but if you just keep doing it, it gets easier and easier, and after a certain point of working, you can't not wake up in the morning. Like, you sleeping in will be very rare for you. Even without an alarm, you will still wake up, and not sleep in a long time because you're used to it. So I think it's just habit building, really. They miss alarms, they miss deadlines, then blame someone, set their systems, carry their weight, and stop outsourcing adulthood. I know I'm not their backup plan or any excuse. They just need to handle their mornings and stop making their chaos everyone else's problem. Am I the asshole for refusing to be my roommate's human alarm clock and telling them I'm not responsible for waking them up every morning? No, I don't think so. I think that if you like, there is a argument to be made about that sort of tough love kind of thing. Like, they're never going to learn to wake up if you keep doing it for them. They've got to get there on their own. Was the poster wrong for refusing to wake up roommate in morning? And I mean morning as in opposed to afternoon, not morning as in grieving somebody's tragic loss. Okay, just get that through your head. I know they're spelled differently. I kind of think that they're absolutely fine, to be honest with you. I really do. Like, it's not. It'd be nice to do for them, except they seem to have a problem. They need to solve this one on their own, or else, they're gonna, like, what are they going to do when they eventually get a place by themselves, or they have, say, a partner. They're living with a partner who goes to work before they do. You can't expect people to organize your own life, and I think that if you can't get yourself up to work by yourself, then something's, terribly wrong. Maybe you need to have therapy for depression or something. Maybe it is depression. Maybe it is sort of a mental illness, because, a lot of depressed people, they just can't get out of bed. And look, I'm not denigrating that. It is truly awful, and, they're in a really bad place. It's a really dark and bad place. I totally get it. It's just, maybe you need help with that. Maybe you need help with your life skills, right? Like, a lot of people who do have mental health issues, they need help with life skills, like how to do things around the house, how to make it to work on time, how to actually, how to actually do all of this stuff. But that's okay. We can address that problem, not pass that on to somebody else and say, hey. Okay, so what in the arse, Pepper? Damn, what a username. I love the look as well. Wow. Not the arsehole. Waking them up is not your responsibility, and they will never improve with waking up themselves if you keep acting as their human alarm clock. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. And so setting multiple alarms, it's not like they are not waking. They're waking up. They're choosing to go back to sleep. That's the thing. Maybe it's their job. They hate it so much that they go back to sleep. Something's going on here that you've got to get to the bottom of, like, and address the real problem. Why do they want to go back to sleep more than they want to go to their job? Right? Maybe they need to find another job, one that because if you do, like, if you do come to terms with your job and are doing something and find something to wake up for, like, you've got to find something in your job to wake up for. Maybe that's the people at your job. Maybe that's the, depends where you work, really. Maybe it's the, lunchtime that you get to go and sit at a park or something. You've got to find something in your job to get yourself up and motivated. For me, a lot of the time it was helping people. Maybe, like, it wasn't much, right? When you're just helping people with technical issues, it's not much. But, a lot of the time you can motivate yourself by saying, well, maybe I will help one person, like, make their day today. And that's not a lot, but it's enough to get you going. You got to find that thing. You have to, or else you're just going to go back to sleep. something bothersome. Of course you are not the arsehole. It won't save you from an uncomfortable situation, though. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Your best bet is to squash all of the discomfort in a small time frame. Don't ever do it again. Let the fallout happen all at once. Eh. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of agree with that. Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Look. Yeah. Yeah. I just think you're the best leave them to their own devices. Definitely not the arsehole. Some people struggle with alarms and waking. Sure, I'm one of them. But that's part of being an adult. What happens if you want to sleep in? What happens if you want to sleep in? Well, you can sleep in. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, look. The hardest I've ever done is having rolling shifts. If they don't know what rolling shifts are, basically my my start time would go from 7 a.m. all the way up to 10 a.m. and then flip back to 7, right? Like, so you'd start off getting up like, I think about 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then it would roll up to, I'd be getting up at like 8 or something to get to work, and then it would flip back to 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. in the morning kind of thing. And that was rough. That flip back from 8:30 to 5:30, that was rough, right? Like, because then you have to wake up so much earlier. But it comes with the job, that's what you're doing. It has rolling shifts. It kind of sucked. Yeah. Totally kind of sucked. It was rough, but that's the job. It was basically because no one wanted to do the earlier shifts and everyone wanted to do the later shifts, basically. Me, I'm ambivalent about it, to be honest with you. I kind of liked the earlier shifts, and then you got off earlier, and then you could, do more stuff, and the shops would still be open by the time you finished, kind of thing. You could jump in and do some, kind of stuff, do some shopping or get some stuff, on your way home, kind of. It was fine by me. But a lot of people wanted to, and so they just had rolling shifts. Kind of sucked, but, it's doable. Not the arsehole. You aren't responsible for waking them up. How I encourage to have compassion. This isn't a laziness or irresponsible thing. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It may be something deeper than that. People have different sleep schedules and patterns, and for some people, waking up in the morning is as painful as getting teeth pulled. Yeah, I don't think that painful, but yes. Yep. And some people, to be honest with you, some people are just nocturnal. Like, I've met people on night shift. I used to do night shift as well, and some people were like, I can't do day shift. I can only do nights. Go figure. Not for me, but go figure. What have people got to say? It's not a hotel. There's no wake-up call service. Well, unless you want to provide one. I don't think that's a roommate's responsibility. Get them to pay you for that. Seriously. Twice? Get your lazy ass up. Well, I don't think laziness exists, right? I think laziness is a catchphrase. It just, people are unmotivated, people are depressed, people are all these things. I don't think laziness is an actual thing. I think that it's just something that we say to describe somebody who is unmotivated. I get it's a shortcut, I get it's that, but there's a lot of, a lot of vilification around it, like it is something that they've decided to do, and I'm not entirely sure that's correct. I've seen a lot of people who they're not trying because they just don't want to, or they've just decided not to. It's mostly a lot deeper. So yeah, I get you. I get you though. Yeah, Hooligan says, I would have gotten into bed with them and spooned them. They normally get up pretty quick. Wow, okay. I feel sorry for your partner. BTF Wayne says, I was raised in a house with 0 caffeine. Wake yo ass up. Yeah, yep. Aunt Jess suggests a bucket of cold water. You can't fall back to sleep in a cold, wet bed. Yeah, okay. Well, that is true. I think it'd fall under, cruel and unusual punishments, but never mind. Sure, why not? Or better yet, a bucket of ice cubes. They have to get up to collect all the ice cubes before they melt all over the bed. Look, I mean, there is something to be said for like a morning cold water swim or something, or a cold shower. It definitely does help you wake up. What happens when they're not there? Apparently, they're just late for everything, Jedi. Apparently. But, you know. Yahooligan says, my assistant and I lived together. I'd get up early to shower first, then wake them to shower before we left. But then they'd make me stop for food before making us both late. Made me so mad. Oh, okay. So yeah, right. So you went to work together. Okay, got you. At least you carpooled. At least that's one good thing coming out of it. But yeah, that is annoying. That is annoying. Big Bad Mama. So good to see you, Mama. This is one of the more ridiculous Am I the Arsehole I've seen. It's the person's responsibility to wake themselves. Do they need their ass wiped too? Maybe. You never know. They never know. You never know. I dread to think. Yeah, Hooligan says, switching wake-up times wasn't an option since they'd still wake me late and want food stops. Yeah, right. Okay, gotcha. I prefer to wake up and go straight to work. I hate sitting around all day waiting for my shift to start. No, that's fair. That's fair. And Art just says, when I worked the night shift, I didn't sit around all day waiting for work. I had the same habits as people on the other shifts, just on the other end of the clock. Yeah, same here. Yep. Woke up a few hours before work. Yep. Same here. Still watch all day timming everything. But you are still watching you watch all day timing everything to end so you can make it to work. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. Please speak English. I don't understand Canadian. And the poll says poster is fine. Yeah, I agree. Well, I will do one more. I do apologize, everyone. This is going to be a shorter episode. I'm kind of very tired at the moment. But I did get up for this, okay? I had my coffee. I did get up. I am kind of tired, though. No, definitely not the arsehole for not refusing to wake anybody up, but for bloody whining on the internet to the whole world instead of growing a spine and saying, no, I'm not doing this anymore. No, they're not whining. They just want to know if they're being an arsehole. Like, that's fine. UGT, that's, sometimes you're gaslit. Sometimes a person will go, oh, you're such an arsehole because you didn't wake me up. And you go, am I really? I don't know. Oh, yeah. Okay, got you. Yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with them asking. I'm the kind of person, if someone says, hey, you're being an arsehole, I will actually consider, am I actually being the arsehole? And it's fine to get an outside opinion. I reject your premise there. I reject your premise. Gently reject it. Okay, I'll just do one more because I am so tired, but that's okay. I still got up. Look, have I slept through my alarm? Yeah, kind of. So, I must admit, okay, so all alarms have a snooze button kind of thing, right? Like, they'll have a snooze button. You can hit snooze and, like, for 5 minutes, go back to sleep, kind of ish, or rest, and then it'll go off again, right? That's what the snooze button's for. I try not to use it. Occasionally I do. I haven't slept through an alarm for quite some time, but I definitely have hit the oh yeah, I'll get up. It's just, yeah, if you hit the off button, you've got to get up. You got to. I think the worst I've ever like come into work late. I don't know. It's just yeah. I think it was after my parents died, and I was out of sorts for a long while. Um, you know how it is. Am I the asshole for ratting my teammates to our manager for constantly chit-chatting in our office? Um, yeah, kind of. If it doesn't affect you, then kind of, yeah. Look, I have a pretty I don't if something isn't affecting me, then you can do whatever you want. I don't care, right? Like as long as it's not affecting me. But if you are like for instance, if you're not getting your work done and I'm having to work harder to cover for you, I'm gonna fucking tell somebody. Like if you're making my life hard, I don't like this whole snitches get stitches thing. That's what criminals say because they're getting away with preying off others. If you're making my life difficult, I don't see why I should um, not 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 make your life harder. I don't see the point. And maybe that makes me odd. I don't care. I'm grown enough now that I've been through that high school mentality of, well, if you tell somebody you're a dobber, you're a snitch, you're just a tattletale or whatever. Fuck it, grow up. Like seriously, grow the fuck up. I've been through that and been bullied and thought, well, I can't tell anybody because then I'm just somebody who's telling on people. No, no. If you're being actually, if it is severely detrimental to you, fuck them and you should tell somebody, in my opinion. So no, I don't think you're an asshole unless it like if it is really not affecting you, then what the hell are you doing? Like seriously. If you are being affected, then fuck them for affecting you, quite frankly. That's my opinion. And I know that might be controversial. I know there's like a culture of, well, don't tell anybody or else, you're going to be in trouble. No, I don't agree with that. I think if you're being affected, if things are going to affect you, then fucking do it. Absolutely. But it's Pauling 2204. Let's go. Oops, I was already in it. My apologies. I will sort myself out. I, 25 male, work in a small team of 5. 2 males, 3 females. Okay, I thought that was the ages, and I'm like, wow, that's a young workforce you've got there. Toddlers, is boss baby in charge? No, okay, so small team of 5. 2 male, 3 female, all seated together in a row with me in the middle desk. Every day in the office, 2 of the older female staff constantly go to each other's desks and talk endlessly about their personal lives. Husbands, kids, holidays, real estate, health conditions, etc. They often stand right next to my desk so close that I can still hear them even with my headphones on. To me, it's really distracting and frustrating. Once I got so annoyed I stormed off to the kitchen and kicked the chair on the way. Okay, what did the chair do? That's probably not... Yeah, okay. I mean, they usually have lunch together and spend the hour talking non-stop anyway. What else do they need to talk about? Look, that's not up to you, my guy, like, seriously. But you could ask them, like a fucking adult, and go, excuse me, like, could you not talk near me? I'm trying to focus on my work. Thank you so... I'd really appreciate it. Then there's a former teammate, also female, who's now in another department, often comes over to join them. Sometimes a couple of women from other teams joins in too. Damn, this is like a sewing circle around your fucking desk. Yeah, no, I can imagine how frustrating that'd be when you're trying to, like, get your work done. The remaining male teammate sits next to me and does not seem to care. 1, because he's Mr. Friendly. 2, because he's like the oldest. And 3, his English isn't good, so he probably doesn't fully understand their conversations. Nothing to do with it. 3 has nothing to do with it. Age doesn't really have anything to do with it either. and he's friendly. Okay, well, the one remaining female is kind of okay, not really talkative. Okay. Our manager, female, has already told the team several times that the office chit-chat should be kept to a minimum and moved to the kitchen or hallway, not around people's desks. I've directly mentioned the problem, okay, to her on my one-on-one catch-ups, but lately she's trying to kind of given up, replying that as long as they get their work done, she won't intervene. When manager is not around, things get worse. They'll work for 15 minutes and then talk for the next hour or so. I'd maybe understand if they were super productive and their work is flawless, but in reality, they hardly do their jobs properly. I haven't worked in an office environment for long, so I'm not sure if this is normal. Like it's acceptable for them to behave like that because they're women and older. No, I mean, come on. Seriously? Am I the asshole for reporting my co-workers to the manager? Or am I just overreacting and needs to learn to tune it out like background noise? Well, okay, so have you been checked for autism is my first thing. So sound for autistic people is pretty bad. And there's something called misophonia. It's basically normal sounds can make people with misophonia absolutely cringe. Like I have it. I don't like it when people are chewing in my ear when I hear the sound. I dislike it intensely. Certain noises and sounds, I dislike. If your manager has already said that people should not talk around people's desks, there's no reason why you can. But what I don't get is you've mentioned it to your manager, but you haven't mentioned it to them. Okay, that's the problem. You haven't mentioned it to the people that are doing it and saying, hey, look, I don't want to stifle you. It's just that I'm having a lot of trouble focusing. Could you keep it down or, move it to somewhere else would be fantastic, that kind of stuff. And if it's work related, then look, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I kind of think, no, you're not the ass. Well, actually, I kind of think they are. Like, you shouldn't be going to your manager if you haven't talked to them directly. I've directly mentioned the problem to her, to the manager, but you haven't talked to them, right? You haven't sat down and talked to them like a human being, an adult, and said, hey, I know you love to chat. It's really great that you're social. I'm just having a lot of trouble focusing on my work, and I'm just wonder if you could keep it down or maybe just take a couple of steps away from the desk. Come to a compromise. You don't have to go, oh, well, I'm going to get the manager involved straight away, because the problem is then the manager goes to them and, suddenly it's like, well, why didn't he just tell us? They probably don't realize what they're doing is annoying you. That's the thing. Most people are just in their own little worlds and they're not, he's acting like, well, I can't speak to them. I guess why not? Why not? That they might react badly, okay, but they might not. That's the thing. And if you be at least nice to them, this office politics stuff, I don't know, maybe I would probably bring it up with them first and be a bit sensitive about it. So yeah, I think you are, like, if you had talked to them and they said tough, I would be fine, right? Like, I would be fine. Yeah, if you've talked to them and they say, tough, we're going to keep doing it, and how dare you tell us what to do. Okay, yeah, take it up with the manager. But if you've basically just gone straight to the manager, yeah, you're kind of an asshole. You do need to talk to them first. I really think so. I really think so. But that's your choice. That's your choice. I will do the poll. Um, for reporting chatters. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I had one woman that I could not like. We had hot desks or hot seating, which was a lot better. But I couldn't sit near her because of the way she answered the phone. It just drove me crazy. And luckily, I could sit somewhere else. But um, you know, yeah, and the only time I would get upset about that kind of thing is if they're literally like um like they're literally causing my work to suffer. Like if I'm on the phone or something and they can hear people talking in the background, that can be a bad look, especially if you're involved in sales or customer relations or something. It can be really bad. Like, I don't know if you've ever called up somewhere and you're talking to somebody about some sort of problem with their company or something like that, and you can hear people laughing and nattering in the background. It's a bad sound, right? Like, it just seems like they're not taking you seriously. Seems like they're just having a party over there at whatever corporate. Like, so I can understand that. I think this one, though, if you're not taking it up with them, what are you doing? Like, seriously, they're the ones that are talking. You don't like it. You've got headphones. Maybe you need noise cancelling headphones. Maybe that's what you need. I still think that you're being an arsehole by just going directly to the manager instead of hashing it out. Like, be an adult. But I kind of think everyone's kind of an arsehole here, to be honest with you. Everyone's kind of terrible because they probably shouldn't be doing that. It can be very distracting having loud conversations. If you're on the phone with somebody else, if you have to call people, it's horrible having people in the background. Anybody in the background, it's awful. It makes it hard to hear, makes it hard to talk to people. Let's see what the Redditors have to say about it. Not the arsehole. That's annoying. You don't mention that you've taken up with them directly, so maybe do that. Yes, exactly. If they want to chit chat, whatever, but they don't need to do it right over your desk. Yeah, absolutely. You're the arsehole. Dude, you need to get help. Kicking chairs at work cause people are talking. That ain't you getting frustrating. That's an adult that doesn't know how to regulate and control their emotion. That's true, actually, now that I come to think of it. Your boss is right. If they're getting their shit done, it's not a big deal. FYI, it's an asshole and sexist move to even imply your co-workers are doing this because they're women that are older. Yeah, that's true. I actually agree. Yeah. Because there are women that are older. Yeah. It's got nothing to do with that. Okay. Info. Have you asked them to directly take their conversation elsewhere? Have you told them that interfering with your ability to do their job? Yeah, exactly. Which it doesn't sound like that they've done, and they don't have a reply either, which makes me... Info. Are they getting their work done? Does your team meet at all and any goals that may need to be set? Yeah. That's true. So I kind of think, oh, that's the only couple. This is a brand new one. Yeah, I kind of think he is being an arsehole. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, but he's right. Like, if you go and kick a chair because people are talking near you and you don't take it up with them, then yeah, you need to seriously regulate your anger. You seriously need to regulate your anger. Yeah, that's not good. That is not good. Let's see. UGT, and it's good to see you, ugly German truths. I didn't say hello. So hello and welcome. Would the manager know themselves, and does the work suffer from whatever that amounts to? If others have to clean up after them, it's harming the company. Otherwise, there are similar things in any office, like smoking breaks. There are people that need those 2 to 4 minutes to work. The other 50-something minutes highly focused and complaining have their own methods to reconcentrate or break up the work. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. But see, the thing is, it's not really it's not really up to him to check on whether they're doing their work. And BTF Wayne agrees. He's like, are they getting their work done? But that's not up to him, right? That's up to the manager. That's up to their superior. If they're not getting the work done, that's on, that's not for you to chase up with them, kind of thing. So I do understand that. But German Truths is saying, why is he listing all of these genders? Does he only take offense because they're females in the office? And yeah, I didn't see that, but you're absolutely right. Like he's sort of saying, hey, it's because they're older women, and it's like, yeah, but it could be men. Like, why is that such a big deal? I kind of agree. Archer agrees and says, because women do be talking too much, am I right? Yeah, I don't. I've been in a myriad of workplaces, and people that chat are from both sexes and genders rather. I've seen guys stand around and talk. Like, look, the delivery drivers at one of my job were the worst sewing circle, as you call it, I've ever seen. Like, they would sit around and natter and bitch, and like when they weren't driving, they were complaining about stuff. Like, they were just chatting about everything. So it really isn't, while there was a whole bunch of women working on the production line that just got stuff done. Like, seriously, while the drivers were the most gossipy people in the place. Like, so I've seen both. I've also seen where, there's been a gossip with the women as well. I don't think it's one or the other. So yeah, but I get what you're saying. It's sort of weird to point out. It has a weird sound. I don't know. A weird sound. The place I used to make transportation arrangements always has loud co-workers in the background. I mentioned it once and she said, okay, I'll mute myself when I'm not talking. I said, no, it's making it hard for me to hear you talking. I don't know why she couldn't just tell her co-workers to keep it down. Yep. What I said was a joke about the trope of chatty Cathys. Yeah, but I mean, there's groups of guys that are chatty Cathys. Like, seriously, if you've ever worked on site, or like, look at the roadworks crew, right? There's one guy digging and 5 guys standing around chatting. Like, seriously. Sounds like Mark worked with the guys in the barbershop from Coming to America. I vaguely remember that movie, vaguely, but yeah, I mean, they just sit and chat and bitch about things and talk politics and talk crap. And that, look, it was just the delivery drivers had to do work, but they also just love to chat. It happens, as long as they're getting their work done, it's okay. But yeah, this guy is an asshole. Like, really, you need to like understand how work, people do different stuff at work. If you're not going to take it up with them and just go complain to the manager, yeah, that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. It's time to grow up and say, hey, can we come to some sort of compromise? Can we keep things a bit real? Can I get some noise cancelling headphones? Can I make the environment better for myself? Not just, hey, I'm going to go tell the manager. That's not anything. You should tell the person. Am I right? Am I right is something comedians say, am I right? No, I get you now. Well, that'll about do it, and Poster is terrible. Yeah, I kind of agree. I actually go for everyone's terrible. Except they may not know what they're doing, but they have been told not to do that, so, it's a bit iffy. I get what you mean. Again, we've got a failure to communicate by these people, so yeah, absolutely. Anyway, that about brings me to a close. I do apologize. I'm just so tired today. I really did not sleep well last night, so I apologize, but I'm gonna bring it to a close and woke up. I will say that at least I woke up. At least I did that, and I didn't require anybody to literally physically come by and wake me up. That is something that I did not do. But yeah, I want you to take care. I want you to be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other. I would love to see you be kind to each other. Those terrible, terrible posters. Yeah, Ems, I get you. We will be back on my Friday or Thursday night Eastern time for Fundamentalist Fails. And we will be coming back on Saturday night or Sunday my time for another debate over on the Wonderful Embers channel. You gave me a link, actually, so I should be able to link you. And this time we're going to check out a potholer debate, Potholer 54 debate, with Bumblebee, I believe it is. So that's gonna be a great time. So I will link that here. You need children or cats? Yeah, absolutely. The cat alarm clock. Look, I don't have children or cats, and I still manage to get up. So, you know, mind you, I've been doing that for a large segment of my life. I don't, you know, I kind of, if I've got something the next day, I have forgotten to set my alarm, and I have woken up at my usual time. You know, if you just work like throughout your life, it becomes something that you just can't avoid. It's just something that you do. It's kind of wild, because I know that on more than one occasion I have, you know, failed to set my alarm, or it's been set for the wrong time, and I've woken up anyway, like just at the time I usually would go to work. It's just a thing, you know, it's just a thing. Anyway, take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
She